Hello, LA201 students. As I mentioned yesterday when I put up that video, kind of going over a few things regarding this week and what will be required of you in the class meeting today, etc., etc., I told you that I would post some information about Robert Nozick just to kind of get you started. I think you're going to find this piece much more digestible than Jung. Jung, as we mentioned in class when we looked at him a couple of weeks, had some very abstract ideas, different ideas that many people today aren't used to hearing or even talking about. So Robert Nozick, to kind of give you an overview of who this guy was. He was an analytical philosopher, and he was kind of a rebel in this field of study. And what I mean by that is that he decided, earlier in his career that he would take up problems of social systems, something that wasn't typical of analytic philosophers to do. So he wasn't alone in it, but it wasn't popular for analytic philosophers to address issues and problems of social systems. So just with that little bit of framework, so Nozick went through this period of time where he was very interested in politics, and his views on politics shifted from a liberal to more libertarian views. And at one point in his career, he kind of left those social politics behind, and he wrote a lot about epistemology, which is the study of how we know anything. And this piece on emotions is taken. It was written during that time, and so what he did was he wrote a book called The Examined Life: Philosophical Meditations. And this work was really aimed at kind of the general reader. So it wasn't written for philosophers, it was written for the general public. And its purpose was to kind of meditate on the meaning of life. Specifically, this piece was a chapter out of that book on how emotions inform us and affect us. Okay. The other topics that were in the book were varied topics that related to the meaning of life, including dying, creating, how we create things and the meaning of creating, the nature of God, spirituality, sexuality, value, and kind of general meaning. He also wrote on the Holocaust and ideas of wisdom and how we acquire wisdom and those sorts of things. Okay, so again, Nozick was an analytic philosopher, and as such, he was very categorical in terms of his approach to writing. And you're going to pick that up, I think, pretty quickly. Very much like Aristotle, who thought categorically. Nozick did the same thing, and he really begins this discussion when you start diving into this by pointing to really three categories that pertain to emotions. Those categories are belief, evaluation, and feeling. Okay, and it's important that these categories are not self-evidently connected to the concept of emotion as we may know it or as we may commonly understand emotion to be. So Nozick has to spend some time early on in this piece kind of discussing each of these concepts and connecting it to the idea of emotion. So that's very important that when you're reading through this to pay attention to that. So I think with this one, it's going to be probably a bit easier for you to come up with your quiz questions. And the reason for that is because this categorical style of writing is going to lend itself really well to creating questions. So as I think when you dive into this in class today and start looking at this as a group, you're going to find it much easier to create questions than you did with Jung's work last week. Okay. So I want to keep this short. I know you're going to have a crunch time in class today. My apologies that I'm not going to be able to be there with you. I would like for somebody to check in with me and let me know who all is in class today. So someone's going to have to be the snitch today, and actually the attendance taker. So I appreciate you guys forging on without me today. Some things I have to take care of today, and I'm not able to be there. I am available if you need to chat with me. I will set up a discussion area in here, or actually not a discussion area. I'll set up a virtual meeting room here in Canvas, and I'll have it open during the class time. So if you need to chat with me, we can do kind of a live chat. So I think you'll be good. You guys are all a smart bunch, so I think you'll be fine taking care of this today. Any questions, concerns, comments, let me know. And I hope you have a good day and a good coming weekend. Take care.